About the principles of critical thinking and how to apply them in aviation industry. So principles of critical thinking, these are simply the guidelines that help us in the critical thinking process. Principles include clarity, accuracy, depth, breadth, logical consistency, precision, and fairness. These are some of the principles of critical thinking. So these principles, they guide us in the process of critical thinking. Let's take, for example, in aviation a case. You work in a company or rather airline that transports goods from one place to another, or from country to country, or from within the country. This particular customer comes to you and wants to transport certain goods. These goods maybe are weapons, or these goods are being transported outside the country and they are weapons. Of course, there are guidelines that guide aviation professionals to in transporting such goods. So this particular customer asks you to transport those weapons from your country to another country, and you follow this procedure. In as much as you're following the regulations, you also need to critically think about this matter. You need to ask some questions, and as you ask these questions, you need to be critical so that you get the answers that are going to help you to make the decision whether or not to transport these goods. Asking these questions, we need to ask them and follow the principles or the guidelines of critical thinking. We need to be clear. You need to be clear when you're asking these questions. You need to be accurate. You need to have depth in your questions. Those answers, you need to evaluate them, whether they are logically consistent or not, whether they are true or not, whether the premise are true or not, whether they support their arguments. So you need to apply the principles of critical thinking while you're asking these questions to that particular customer, so that at the end of the day, when you make your decision, you have your facts straight, you have asked the necessary questions, you have gotten the correct necessary answers, and you are able to make a decision based on your findings. So we use these principles in different problem solving methods in day-to-day activities of aviation professionals. We use critical thinking, and for us to think critically, we need to follow a process. We need to have guidelines in critical thinking. So these principles, we apply them daily in problem solving, in decision making, which is basically what aviation professionals do on a day-to-day basis. I hope you gained some knowledge and insight into the topics. Thank you for listening.